bad movies, bad life advice, and even worse life decisions. We cover it all here on the Life with Kenny podcast. I'm your host, Kenny. Grab a beer, sit back, and relax for this week's episode, because things are about to get weird.
What's an all-American girl like you doing with a geek like this?
Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
Jimmy was off the hook. I know you really don't listen to Slipknot.
Does your Rhino?
You are listening to a Life with Kenny podcast.
Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of Movie Nights, the podcast series where we discuss the best and worst movies in cinema history this week. I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Patrick.
What?
And Kyle.
That's my name.
And we have a special guest this week, a listener and one of two reviewers of the podcast.
Why'd you gotta do me like that right in the beginning?
Alannah. Do you prefer Alannah, Alana, Elena, Allie?
Most my family calls me Al. So.
Chief Keef.
Yeah.
This week we are watching Hereditary. This is, I guess it would be Kyle's pick.
Sure is.
For movies to scare Kyle.
Yeah.
Patrick, did you give any thought to what your movie is going to be?
Yeah, I gave it lots of thought.
Have you made a decision?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I will.
okay.
Don't worry. Keep your tits on.
Lots of thought as it passes his mind once a week.
Yep.
Shit, I gotta pick something here right away.
This week we're watching Hereditary. I think my mic just got turned off somehow.
That's okay.
From 2018, starring Toni Collette, Millie Shapiro, Alex Wolff, and Ari Aster, is the director and writer of the movie. Where's my... So I guess we should just go straight to the questions. Have any of you guys seen this movie before?
Yeah.
Nope.
I haven't, but I listened to a review on a different podcast about it, so I kind of know what it's about.
What did they say?
They really liked it. They were like, it's called the Dead Meat Podcast. They both went to cinema school or something like that, like for art or whatever.
Wow.
So.
Okay.
So you would say that
makes
they're
sense why they would
probably
like it.
more informed than Kenny to make a decision on whether it's a good movie.
I mean, I wasn't going to say that, but that's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, there's being informed and then there's being pretentious. So I guess it just depends on what.
Which one are you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a cinema art school degree, so I guess it just depends.
God, you.
So Kyle and Alana, do you guys think you'll like this movie? I guess you probably know all of the spoilers and stuff.
Yes, I know all the spoilers, but I don't watch a lot of... I like more like the 70s, 80s, like Jason and Freddy kind of movies.
Great.
I don't...
So did you watch Sleepaway Camp then?
No.
Don't.
If you do, I have a theme song I can send you.
We better skip that one a
I've
miss
heard it.
forever.
Okay, so Kyle, do you think you'll like it then, since you're kind of going in blind?
I hope so. I don't know if I like it. I just want it to scare me. And I've heard it's a scary movie.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, I'll give it that, but I don't know if... I don't know. I'm trying to stay optimistic.
Do you watch a lot of scary movies? Like
I used to until...
I know Victoria doesn't.
Until I met Tori.
Yeah.
And then I quit watching scary movies because she can't watch them. She gets too scared.
Interesting.
Yeah, Patrick, you liked this movie the first time you watched it, right?
I did, yeah. I thought it was decent.
So are you excited to revisit it then?
I don't know if I'm excited to revisit it because I didn't watch it that long ago. So it's probably going to be a bit of a mission to get through. But
well, speaking of which, we're going to be watching Overlord probably next week.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have watched that so soon either, should I?
So there's that.
Be all right. Take some sleeping tablets.
I know Kenny's excited to rewatch this. He's been talking about it for like the past month.
You know what? I actually I used to review movies on Letterboxd. It's an app where you just review movies and stuff on.
What was your name?
Well, it's Life with Kenny.
1, 2, 3?
69. Because 68 was already taken. So I'm going to read that for you guys later, and we'll see if my opinion still holds up But I think this time, since Alannah is going to be our guest, I'll probably split up the trivia and the reviews between the three of you guys to read this time.
Awesome.
And then I'll just read my own review from last time, and we'll discuss this movie that has so much to discuss.
Right on.
But before we get into the movie, we like to discuss things we've been watching and some movie trailers, which we all just watched together. So which would you guys prefer to jump into first?
I've watched Dick All this week, so
What's Dick All?
Is that new?
That's the new Chris Lilly show.
yeah.
He plays
new,
every character.
I can't think of any directors that direct weird stuff.
Ari Aster, the guy who did fucking
I
Hereditary.
watch so many fucking movies, but I don't know anyone that directs movies.
Well, no, hopefully this podcast will educate you, since I've been reading that out every week.
Doesn't mean I'm listening.
Kyle, have you watched anything recently?
Not a lot. I watched that new Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron.
Yeah, I watched halfway through
It
that.
wasn't.
and
It wasn't good.
Pretty garbage.
Really? You guys didn't like
okay.
it?
I liked it.
I thought it would be better if I didn't watch the Ted Bundy tapes beforehand.
Really? Because I found like it was contrast to that sort of. It was through the eyes of his girlfriend, wasn't it?
Yeah. The issue with the new Ted Bundy movie, compared to the Ted Bundy tapes, is I kept finding flaws in like timelines and details.
Like what? Do you have examples? Because I got about halfway through and I thought it was pretty consistent.
The biggest one that bothered me, and I tried researching it because I hadn't watched the Ted Bundy tapes for a while, but was when he showed up to meet Liz for the first time with a VW bug, which I'm pretty positive in the Ted Bundy tapes they said like he got into bugs and bought one because of like her dad or something had one.
Yeah,
and
I don't
she
remember
also
that.
she also had a bug, and that's why like he allegedly kidnapped and those two girls from the lake with the blue punch buggy, which was actually hers.
No, it was the
It was
yellow
the
one.
yellow one, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Was it?
his.
Yeah.
It was his car. That's
'Cause-
why they found him.
No, but his was there was even reports of the guy had a different colored punch buggy than he actually owned. That's why when she called in to say it might be Ted, they said that's the wrong color bug.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure.
I'll look it up.
It's consistently been the.
I'll look it up.
It's actually not even yellow. It's like a tan.
Yeah, it's like a
think.
cream colored.
I don't know for sure based off of the Bundy tapes that they did, but off of like the 4 different podcasts that I did that covered the story in depth, I remember it always being that same car. So, I said, we could be wrong. We don't have fact checkers.
Yeah, I just couldn't really stop thinking
You guys
about High
talk
School
about
Musical
other things and
pretty
I'm
much
gonna
the
bring
whole
it
way
up.
through.
You big fan of High School Musical?
I preferred High School Musical to the Ted Bundy movie, yeah.
Well, this is where we're going to announce our musical month next week. No, I'm just kidding.
I'd
starting with-
probably rewatch High School Musical. It was fucking nuts, man. You imagine going to that school and just being fucking terrified every day that they're going to break out into song.
I feel like we could
Breaking free.
solve
Yeah.
a lot of issues with breaking out into song, don't you think? They solved lots of things on that show.
Well, no, like imagine one day you're a bit under the weather and you walk into school and everyone's like
Choreographed
fucking singing
dancing.
along and you're like,
Yeah, joke's on you. The day you went to school is also the day of the Columbine shooting, so your dancing's not going to save you.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, that's another worry in the States.
They just have the guns aimed at you, and you're just going, sorry.
Yeah, like it's a 50-50 chance there'll either be a school shooting or you'll break into song.
Right.
Eventually,
those
one day
odds.
you'll be hoping more for the other one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends how good or bad you are at song and dance. So, Alannah, have you seen anything since you're the new guest?
Yeah, I a couple of things came
I'm guessing
out.
you probably have like 27 years of stuff that you've watched before.
Yes,
so.
yeah, I'm not going to go through it all, but the
All right.
last week, a couple of things. Go ahead, Kyle. You were
I just
looking it up.
want to interject here. This is on Bundy File through Google. It says His fiancée Liz also had a light blue VW Bug. In fact, it was her car he was driving when he abducted and murdered 2 women at Lake Samish in July 1974.
Right.
He later mentioned stealing a Volkswagen while on the run from police in 77.
So that's probably why she called it in, was because she recognized that it was probably her car.
Yeah. And then it also, this is kind of weird, but it says he liked the punch buggy because he could easily remove the passenger seat to easily control his victims once they were unconscious. He could quickly handcuff a young woman to the passenger door, ensuring she couldn't escape until they arrived at their destination. So yeah, that's why he chose the Bug. And it was good on gas, apparently.
Awesome. So that's Life Legends this week. Thanks for tuning in for the Ted Bundy talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Patrick, you said you got halfway through it too. Is there a reason you turned it off?
It was fucking boring, man.
Do you know much about Ted Bundy?
Yeah, I know
beforehand?
a fair bit, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a nutcase, but he was also very fit.
See, that's what I thought they did a good job of, is making him attractive to people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was just very charming. I reckon I'd be a fantastic serial killer.
I mean, we could argue that, but
I'm British, so instantly either trustworthy or a criminal.
well, I think step one of being a serial killer is you have to have your own car.
I
Well,
do
except
have a car.
you borrow your I was gonna say you could borrow your girlfriend's, but
It's not her car. I just want to clarify that.
I also didn't like about the movie how they made him seem like he wasn't guilty. Like how they
agree.
tried to
so
push that.
you know
through
why they
his
did
eyes.
that, right?
Well, because he obviously didn't want to be guilty.
No, it's also because they were doing it from a
No.
perspective
Of her,
Yes.
yeah, I know.
No, of new viewers coming in not knowing the story. So the whole idea is people coming in to watch this movie, and they filmed it the way where it was the whole time the viewer would be like, did he or didn't he?
Yeah,
But
no,
if you're
that's-
familiar with Ted Bundy, the whole time you're watching it, you're like, of course he did it. Why are they making it seem this way?
But even
But
at
that's
the end of
why.
the movie, they didn't even have a confession from
Well,
him.
I
All
didn't
they said,
finish it, but
at the end of the movie, they had no confession from him or nothing. All it was at the end, it just said the list of his victims, and nothing ridiculously factional saying that he did admit to doing it, which he did in the end, in his final days.
right.
Or day, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, that bothered me, how they filmed it like that, trying to make him kind of look like he didn't do it.
Well, that was like an issue people had with the Ted Bundy tapes, was just because they made him seem like such a likable guy that people had an issue with that too.
The Ted Bundy tapes to me was fucking stupid and pointless.
Great. So,
Nice. Official review here.
Alannah, let's
Anyway,
get to your...
sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to fix your microphone real quick, if that's okay.
Sure. Yep.
There's just...
Sorry.
No, that's okay. This just has to be facing you a bit.
Okay. Perfect.
It's
Okay.
all right. He already did that to me, and I've been doing this
Yeah.
every week for the
We
past
have
year.
a new setup now because my basement started flooding, so we're recording in a new space, so it's going to be a bit more echoey than usual, but
Maybe no furnace.
we won't have the furnace.
Yeah, Kenny likes us to have the mics inside of our mouths when we talk, which is a bit of a
Well,
pain.
preferably you'd have them inside your sphincter, but inside your mouth is a good secondary.
I don't know
if
if the sound quality would be very good. It'd be very damp, just a bit swampy.
Yeah, if you've
All
never
right.
recorded something before, it's kind of weird to have something in your face.
Yeah, it's definitely new.
No. No.
All right, Alannah, let's
Okay, so I don't know. I watched a couple things, but the
shit.
first one that just came out, it's on Netflix. It's called Tuca and Birdie. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I've seen
It's
a
in
little
the
bit of that.
same world as BoJack Horseman, so it's like
Is it so it's animated?
yes,
Well,
and
that's
it's
fair.
yeah. I don't know. It was okay. I like BoJack Horseman a lot more. It was something I put on as background, sort of. So
Was there any like really good voice actors in it?
the girl from Nailed It, Nicole Byers, she does a guest voice almost every week or whatever, every episode. Tiffany Haddish is one of the main character. She plays Tuca, And Ali Wong plays Birdie. So 2 comedians.
Rough, man. Tiffany Haddish is somebody that I have a tough time liking
Me
for some
too.
reason.
Who is Tiffany
She's
Haddish?
She was
interesting.
in, have you seen the movie Keanu? The Key and Peele one?
Oh, yeah.
She was like the main girl in that movie.
What's her name? I've literally already forgotten.
Tiffany
it.
Haddish. I think she's in a new movie with Kevin Hart coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, let me see that Google search too.
Tiffany Radish.
Yeah, that's the one. So what else have you
It was
been
okay. And then I watch anime. So
well, there you go.
So season 2 of Baki came
Bit
out.
blokey, isn't she?
Oh, right on.
Bit blokey.
No, never seen that girl in my life, I don't think.
Like, if I don't know, I reckon she could fucking do me with a single punch.
Yeah.
I feel like she's the type of
Christ.
girl that would talk you into bed and then a theme song would kick in, Patrick.
I think she's the kind of girl that would talk me into the back of her car.
It's like, surprise, it's me, Rob Schneider.
No, I wouldn't mind. I
Patrick
wouldn't
would be
mind
down.
that. Nothing wrong with a bit
you
of schneid.
just wink at him and be like, Daddy?
Yeah.
All right, so what was the anime?
Oh, it's called Baki. Season 1 came out about 6 months ago, probably, and season 2 just came out.
Is
Is
it
it-
Netflix too?
Yeah.
Is it a Netflix like original series?
Yeah. The first season was really good. Season 2 was meh, but
So
yeah.
what is it about?
So it's Baki is the son of the world's strongest man, kind of, and all.
I didn't
these-
know Kyle had a kid.
all these criminals break out of jail from like different countries. So there's a Russian guy, an American guy, and they all wanna feel what it's like to be defeated because they've never been defeated. So it's just a bunch of ripped old dudes fighting. It's very Japanese, and I love it.
Is it dubbed or is
Yes,
it? Yeah.
you can listen to it dubbed. The dubbing's actually pretty good compared to some of the other ones I've listened to.
It sounds like similar to One Punch Man to me,
Kind of.
where it's like
One Punch
everybody
Man was
trying
better.
to. Yeah, One Punch Man is like my go-to.
Right.
I wanna make Patrick watch. an
Didn't you
episode
have
of
like
that,
a
but-
boob shirt or something from that show?
I have an opai sweater, which means like big tits in Japanese, and it's like a t-shirt that he wears on the show, and it looks
Mm-hmm.
like you have boobs. It's like the logo.
I remember first
I wore
time I
it
saw
yesterday,
Kenny wear
actually.
that, I was like, what a fucking loser.
Yeah, you were like, do you got tits? And then I took it off in shame, and underneath was my Dragon Sound t-shirt.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
As
this-
if you were wearing both.
Let's
Were
just,
you like genuinely trying to fill out the tip portion of the shirt?
I mean, I'm not afraid.
When he
I've got
took
like
his
a-
sweater off, a bunch of Kleenex fell out too.
Yeah, I got like a solid B cup. I think I'd be all right.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
afraid to admit
Just
that
realised that
I
the
got some
mic
tits
can
coming in,
actually, the
too.
mic's actually picking me up, rubbing my chest. So there's that. If anyone's interested.
everyone's interested. So Baki season 2.
Yeah, it was okay. I would, if somebody was going to watch it, I would say watch season 1
And just
season
stop
2.
at that?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Okay.
I think so. And then the only other one I watched that we haven't talked about is called, I just watched episode 1 last night. It's called Dead to Me. And the main character is Christina Applegate. You guys
Okay.
remember her?
Yeah, I think I just saw that on Netflix.
It was good. It was
There's a lot of new shit coming out on Netflix.
every month. I think they take stuff off and put new stuff on. So
Yeah.
since the month just rolled over, yeah, it was. Her husband is killed in a hit and run, and she goes to this like grief counseling group therapy thing, and she meets this other girl that her husband also died, her fiance, I guess, and they bond, and there's twists and turns even in the first episode. It was good. It's more of like a I don't know, white collar humor kind of thing, but it was
Hair's
good.
back.
Get it then.
I don't know.
Just sit there staring at me. Help me out.
Have you seen The Good Place before?
Yes.
So would you say it's like something similar to that?
Oh, I think that's mine.
It's not as like
you want it?
upfront about the humor. The humor, the humor is a little more like you have to search for it a little bit, kind of.
Gotcha.
And it's a little more dark because it's about people dying.
So
right?
would you say it's more of a drama than anything?
like a dramedy?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Like
fair.
there's.
Definitely not a word.
Are you sure?
If it's not, it should be, because I like that a lot.
I'm kidding. Just being a prick.
This isn't one that I've seen recently, but on the topic of Netflix stuff, have any of you guys seen the series Us? Or not Us? Is it? Oh, You. That's it. Us is the movie.
Tori watched it. I watched a couple episodes with her, but when I started like 6 episodes in, and
It's pretty good.
I missed a lot, so I couldn't fucking watch it.
I don't like the fact that they sequel baited it though. Don't think it needed a second season.
Well, it's based
Yeah.
off of a series of books, right?
Well, fuck me, I guess.
So I felt the same way, but when I read what the next book, like the second book, is about, it actually seems kind of promising if they bring it back.
I mean, it was alright. I don't like Netflix series that are like 45 minutes long, you know.
I watched.
Says the guy who watches Walking Dead weekly.
I watched.
I haven't watched The Walking Dead for a good 2 years.
Just busting your balls.
Fear the Walking Dead, on the other hand, I've
So what
already
is
finished.
you about? I've never heard of it.
Did you watch Gossip Girl at all?
No, that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I watched that, and I couldn't get over the fact that the guy in the U is
And you
Gossip
thought we
Girl.
were
Is that
average
the
straight
serial
males.
Or the
Yeah, yeah,
soccer
yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's I actually was like surprised with how
Fuck
much
you,
I liked
Patrick.
that show.
Whoa.
Sitting over there with his smug face, his fucking.
He just sits there and says, "Yeah, I watch Gossip Girl." All right, Kyle,
I
fucking reel it
did
in.
watch it. I watched all of them.
And you want to know the plot twist? Gossip Girl wasn't a girl at all. Tranny trick.
Who was it?
It was Dan Humphries.
Yeah.
Was it actually?
I don't know. who
Spoilers.
that is.
Oh.
They went fucking 8 seasons and we're just like, yeah, it was a dude the whole time.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid at the end when they
XOXO.
made it him. I was like, it wasn't supposed to be him. I'm pretty fucking positive. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they were just like, wow, everyone knows who it is, so we're just going to change it now. Also, do you know Pretty Reckless Liars?
Pretty,
Pretty
Little
Little
Liars.
No, the Pretty Reckless.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that the lead singer girl. That was like her first show was
Gossip Girl.
I thought she was in the
Taylor
Grinch.
Monson. Oh right, yeah. Well, fuck
Don't
yeah,
screw
fuck
around,
me,
Kyle.
right?
She was in what?
The
The
Grinch. She
Grinch.
was Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in The
but she
Grinch.
was also in Gossip Girl.
Right.
Yeah, no, but I fucked up and said like that was like one of her first things, but that would be like her first. I'm
bring
gonna
you knife?
say it was her first fucking TV role. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay, this got out of hand quick. So has anybody else got anything else that they've watched? No? Okay, so we're going to jump into some trailers here. There's a trailer that came out today that I put on, and the reason I put this one in for us to watch was because it's from the same studio that released Hereditary, A24 they're called, so they do a lot of like art house type movies, indie movies. The trailer we watched is called The Farewell, starring Evian. Is that Evian?
Aquafina.
Fiji?
Like the water.
That's the same.
Fiji.
What? That's the same one that. Are you talking Crawl or?
We're talking.
No, the
Farewell.
first one with the
That was
cancer.
the same one that.
It's the same studio
Yeah.
as Hereditary.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the second one. All right.
No. So yeah, this one it's starring Fiji Water. She's apparently like really famous now.
I'm so fucking confused.
Would you want to, Alannah? Do you want to explain the joke to my
Okay,
brother?
are we talking about the dying one?
Yes.
Okay, so that was filmed at the same studio as Hereditary.
Yes.
Okay, that is
Probably not at the
fucked
same
up.
studio, but it was by the same studio. They didn't film it all in the same place.
Oh, because it looked like in
You are
Japan.
being super gimpy today, man.
Fuck. All right, go on.
All right. So
I'll shut up.
So would you like to explain the Nestle water joke to my brother here?
Do you understand? that
Nestle water? I thought it was Fiji.
Yeah, it's aqua. It's
is
Dasani. Dasani.
Can we not just move on? Just scrap this.
Doesn't matter as long as you bring the water.
Okay. Well,
What are we fucking talking about now?
the main actress in the movie's name is Aquafini. Yeah,
I don't
Aquafini.
care, but Kyle now is expecting us all
I
to
couldn't
hand him some
fucking
water.
read that.
This is
Are
a
we
fucking
okay?
shambles.
Okay, so the movie trailer that we watched is about an Asian family deciding whether or not, well, I guess specifically the granddaughter deciding whether or not she needs to tell her grandmother that she's dying of cancer. Not that the girl's dying of cancer, that the grandmother is dying of cancer. Because in Chinese culture, saying you have cancer is just a death sentence. So they're like, basically, do you tell grandma that she's dying or just let her live life in ignorance, I guess? which is what I
I'd
got
probably
from it.
want to know so I could just take a bunch of drugs and go out in a blaze of glory.
I was
Right?
gonna say, like, wouldn't you know if you had cancer? Like, wouldn't that kind of ravage
Like,
your
as soon as I get to 75, I'm taking all sorts of shit.
Right.
I gotta
Like-
say, it really confused me with who actually had the cancer because the grandma was just fucking living
Yeah,
and
no.
laughing the whole time.
I
And
was just-
everyone else in the whole trailer was miserable.
Just adding people to the list. Yep, she's probably got it. Yeah, she has as well.
Yeah, it was a confusing trailer for you, Kyle, for
Yeah.
sure.
It kind of looks like a sad movie though.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't watch it because
Nah,
I
me
can't
neither.
read for one and I can't understand them for two.
Which we've discovered all of that through doing the podcast. So
Brutal.
so you guys don't really have any feelings on this trailer other than like it just looks like a sad
No.
movie that you probably won't watch.
You'd make me
Yeah.
quite thirsty.
Yeah.
There we go. That was an efficient delivery, wasn't it?
Oh,
Everyone had a bit of a laugh with that one. No
All right.
confusion.
next.
So the next trailer that we watched, we only got two this week, is a trailer for a movie called Crawl.
Not from the same studios.
No, this one's
but
from
actually
Paramount Pictures.
recorded in the same place.
The exact
Hmm.
same. Wow. Same
The house
house.
looked familiar.
Same house.
Oh, that's great.
Just with more crocodiles.
Thanks.
Right. So how do you guys feel about this trailer?
Yeah, it looks like Don't Breathe with animals.
Hey,
It's funny that you say that.
Because it's by the same people,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is Don't Breathe the one that you and me went to
Yeah.
theaters? Okay.
Turkey
like,
baster.
Or-
Yeah.
That was a good movie. that was a good movie.
That's a good movie.
Yeah,
Have
I
you
did
seen that
enjoy that.
movie, Alana?
I haven't actually.
You should watch Don't Breathe.
Yeah,
I would
it's
say
very
if
good.
you're gonna watch one movie as like a horror movie in the past 10 years, that's probably one that you should throw on your list.
Is it kind of
Yeah.
like a
Scrap
Quiet Place?
this one. Throw. The
I'd say
idea
it
is that
it's way more of a thriller than a horror.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a home invasion movie, but the place that they home invade is a blind guy who's like a former like Vietnam vet.
Who's in it? It sounds kind of familiar. when you say
There's
it.
not many. I don't
Not
think there's
many.
anybody that's like super familiar, but it's made by Sam Raimi produced it, and Alexander Aja or Aja is the one who did it. He's the one who also did the Evil Dead remake. If you've seen that one,
Yeah.
so it's similar tone to that, where there's like some humor in it, and there's some twists and some fucked up stuff, but it's got like a decent amount of tension and stuff.
Cool.
Also, the main character boy is the dude from 13 Reasons Why, so you can't say that nobody's in it.
Oh yeah, Dylan Minnette, is that his name?
Oh, okay.
I forgot that he was in that movie.
Yeah. I was trying to think. I was like, because I couldn't picture who it was, but I was like, I know the guy in there I've seen before.
You know, he's actually in a band called FOMO,
Yeah.
and they're actually really good.
Yeah, they are actually good.
Yeah.
The indie rock band,
Yeah,
right?
he's a pretty talented guy.
Cool.
Anyway. Wow. Sorry, I didn't
Fun
realize that
fact
would
for you.
completely fucking
Yeah,
kill
we
the
all knew that,
conversation.
Patrick.
So crocodiles.
Jesus.
Okay, yeah. So I guess my main question here is: this a movie that you guys would want to go see?
I don't know if I'd go to it, but I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent, but I've seen crocodiles before.
Right, but for me, knowing that these guys did this movie, I know it's gonna have the same vibe as both the Evil Dead remake and Don't Breathe, and I kind of want to
But-
go just to see what the twist is gonna be.
For me, like a movie like Don't Breathe, I feel like I could get in that situation. Whereas this one, it's like those things look so fake. That's not a real thing. It's not gonna happen.
You would break into a veteran's house. You'd home invade a veteran. You feel like that's something that
Yeah,
would-
man. Like if I was down on my luck and like needed some money, and I knew that guy had some money or something.
Yeah, probably would.
He's blind. Like you should. You
Well,
you would think
it's
that you
because
would
he's
get away
been
with
robbed
it.
before. He has no money. He's already been robbed blind.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, man. Aside from sucking dick, that's your only option, right?
Yeah, Rob Schneider's got a big bankroll going there. Patrick.
Rob Schneider's my main client.
You're robbing that dude blind
Yeah,
too.
dude.
Yeah, so that's it for the trailers. We're gonna go watch Hereditary, and then we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna switch into the same mood Kyle and Patrick were in last week for Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
I think
so
you'll have a hard time doing that just off the ball, because that was difficult.
yeah, I don't think you realize
Man,
how upsetting
I was
this
fucking ready to walk out during
experience
that
was.
movie. I was so ready to walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might be different this time But when you're in so my experience with Hereditary is I went and saw it for the first time in the theater with a packed theater, and I'd say there was at least 10 people that walked out during the movie, and at the end of the movie there was maybe like 5 or 6 people saying that they enjoyed it, and everybody else was just saying, what the fuck was that? Why did we watch this? What a waste of money.
See, I feel like if you watch a horror movie in the theater with a bunch of other people around, it doesn't have the same effect.
Okay, so we know Kenny hated this movie.
No, I didn't.
Did you actually like it, Patrick?
I really enjoyed
didn't hate it.
Like, you think it's a good film? As before watching it again here, what would you?
No, let's phrase
rate
it this way. Do you think it's a good horror film? Because that's what it was pitched at. It was pitched as
it's somewhere
this
between
generation's
the lines.
The Exorcist.
It's somewhere between the lines of thriller and horror, but it's not quite enough either way.
What would you rate it now before watching it?
4.
Not bad. Do you think it'll scare me? Or make me feel uneasy?
It will definitely make you feel uncomfortable. If just walk into the mindset and put yourself in the shoes of this family.
Yeah. Like, I remember watching Don't Breathe in theaters, and I got very into it, and like I could like feel my heart racing, and I was like starting to sweat, and I was freaking out a bit at some point.
Just don't think about anything else other than just imagine yourself in that same situation.
Right on.
I'll tell you, you'll feel that feeling again when you watch Overlord, for sure. Especially in the first like 20 minutes of that movie. But this movie, yeah, we'll talk about it. So we're going to go watch Hereditary, and then when we get back...
Kenny will cry about it.
We will discuss. Or I'll do what you did and just not say a thing and just be like, fucking hated that movie.
Nah, he said a good 4 words.
I was sick too, so...
Yeah, you were looking ropey, mate.
We get back, I'm like, I'd rather eat a small turd.
No, that still stands. If you ever make me...
You know what's so funny?
That was, I think, one of my favorite parts of the podcast ever.
Like 2 days ago, I was at work and I needed to shit, and we don't get like a long time to shit at work. Like, I time myself to make sure I'm out. And like a little nugget I pushed a little nugget out, and it made me think of you, Patrick.
No worries, man. No worries.
All right, let's go watch this movie.
Yeah.
Hey, bada bing, hail say Tony, the Italian demon from Italy. The pizza delivery guy. Hey. We just watched Hereditary.
Yep.
Say Tony, if you don't know, is one of the 8 kings of hell. He's known for being worshipped by all the mafia men and pizza delivery drivers.
Right.
So
only a little bit racist then.
yeah, you only know people who follow Say Tony if they just put extra Parmesan on everything. So that's how you know.
Nice.
Okay, so we just watched Hereditary. Yeah, so Hereditary, let's talk a little bit about this movie before we give our reviews. So Hereditary had interesting ratings. IMDb gave it a 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it has 89%. Only 67% of Google users liked this movie, which is less than Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yeah, see, I've noticed this with the Google users. Anything that's like quite easy watching, it's like easily 80 or 90% of people liked it.
Yeah.
But anything that's a bit more like, it's not.
Yeah, that's a good way to put this movie.
It's either Google, so Google reviews are really low and Rotten Tomatoes is high, or vice versa.
Yeah.
You're high.
I wish I was.
Okay, so the quick summary for this movie, since Patrick didn't write one, I don't think.
Fucking hell.
Is after the family matriarch passes away, a grieving family is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences and begin to unravel dark secrets. So yeah, I guess real quick, we'll just each go around and give our ratings. Let's start with Patrick, since I guess you're the only one who's seen it before out of the other 3. Do you regret watching this movie? Let's start with that. What would you rate it, 1 to 5?
Still a 4, maybe 4.5.
Really?
Yeah.
So a 4 on our scale that we have, just a refresher, would be would rewatch and maybe buy, or going to buy and want to own. So this is something that you'd see yourself going to quite regularly.
I'm going to correct that to really enjoy, would not buy, because I, as we've discussed, would then only have one DVD in my apartment,
Right.
and it would look fucking weird.
Right. Okay, so you really enjoyed this movie then, is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
I was still a little bit creeped out by the end in there.
Okay.
Which was surprising for me, because usually once I know what's going to happen, I'm like, yeah, fuck, all right, cool. But this time I was like, this is fucking gross, man.
Okay, so I'll let you decide who goes next, gauging on who you think liked the movie more out
Okay.
of these two.
Let's go with what's her face?
What's her face?
Alannah,
Yeah,
That's fair.
I'd have called you what's his face.
do you regret watching this movie?
No, I actually, even I listened to the other podcast before and I thought, oh, it'll be ruined. It won't get me, kind of. But I loved it. It was really, really good.
It's fucked, right? It's
I
fully
love
fucked.
that.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
What would you rate it 1 to 5? Do you need to see our scale? Kyle probably has it there for you if you want to do a rating for you.
Yeah, I would rewatch, maybe buy. 4 feels right, but 3.5 for sure, because I would recommend it to others.
Right.
And even people who don't watch horror movies, I thought there was something, it was a good story.
Yeah.
And it was
Right.
interesting the whole time through. I don't know. I would recommend others to watch it. I would definitely rewatch it too.
Well, I'm glad I got to give you guys a movie to watch that you enjoy for once, which is nice.
I'm excited to hear what's his face's opinion.
I can just see Kenny itching like
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, I'm pretty confident I'm alone on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle, do you regret watching this movie?
no.
And 1 to 5, how do you feel about this?
I'd give it a 3.5, which is would recommend to others. The only
World War II is going to drop a bomb here.
the only reason why I didn't give it a 4 was just because of some of the special effects.
I was gonna say some of the floating and stuff was a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, man.
It felt a little Twilight to me. When he
like they ran
runs up
out of
the hill.
money, is what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
Really, as soon as I saw the first thing of her in the corner, I was like, I was very curious of what the budget was for this movie.
Really. And I thought that was one of the best parts.
Yeah.
Was just
I thought
especially
they-
when Peter's getting out of bed and she's just there and it's blurred.
Well, that's what
But
I
they
liked
could've-
about it, is that you either notice it or you don't.
When she crawls away, it was
well,
super,
she's flying.
yeah, but it's
At that
super
point.
cheesy. If I was directing it, sure I would have had her in the corner, but I would have had her jump down and run away rather than float.
Or even
crawl
if you just did
in the
a
air.
lower shot to show her actually crawling on the wall or something rather than just floating out. But yeah, anyways.
What did you rate it?
I don't regret watching it, but I think it's still about a 1.5 for me. I don't know. It's just not for me. The first time I watched it, I left the movie theater just feeling like I was robbed of something, and I can't really explain why. And then rewatching it, I think I've pieced it together. It just based on this and everybody that I know other than you guys who has talked about this movie has talked about it as such a masterpiece in every regard that it's I don't know, it's just everything about this movie to me just yells pretentious. And I don't know if that makes sense. It's all the shots, it's you have to take fucking 30 seconds to get from one point to a phone ringing, and then it cuts to something else, and then it's
I
another
enjoyed the
minute of
shots,
Yeah.
the shots though. I really enjoyed
I
that
did
kind
too.
of stuff.
which
That's
is
it.
good, and I
That's
understand
what-
that, but
that's
for
what
me,
you can tell they put a lot of work into it, stuff like that.
The bits that I fucking love is where the music just builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it just cuts completely silent to the guy in the fucking classroom.
and but this is the thing though, is I don't know, maybe if I'm just paying attention to things differently than you guys or most people, but they literally reuse the same segment of music over and over again. It's the same clip.
Yeah, but I
But I
like
think
that.
that's on
cut
purpose.
and paste.
There was no soundtrack to the
Right,
movie.
Yeah.
but to me that bothers me. I don't know why. It just feels cheapened.
But it's at no point was it really music. It was just that ominous fucking hum in the
Yeah.
background.
I don't know. I'm not going to win this one, so I'm not going to try and fight any battles over it. But for me, it's just I don't know. There's just so many things
Like,
about this movie that
I had so many
issues
about it
with
that bothered me. The storyline to me wasn't the greatest. They could have went so many different ways. What I would like from this movie is if there was sequels.
Midsummer, that one that we watched the trailer for.
But of all of the other, what did they call them? Like
Kings of Hell. Midsummer is coming out.
That's supposed to be one.
Well, I don't know. I think we could probably safely assume, since it's another culty
or
movie.
more background of it, kind of thing.
Well, the king Paimon is essentially the god of mischief, which is why that girl was so weird, because he was in
very
the whole
mischievous. It was more like the god of clucking to me.
Well, no, like when the paint bottle falls over, that blue light was in the background as well, which caused it to fall on the paper, which made her ring what's her face.
When Annie's painting there? Oh.
But also, none of that is Paimon directly doing that. That's all like the Satanists doing their fucking weird things, causing shit to happen. The reason that happened was so that she would discover the phone number. And the reason that they wanted her to discover the phone number was to call that woman.
Yeah.
So that woman was actually like doing satanic prayers for that to happen. She was like willing that to happen. That's the thing, is like, if you pay attention to this movie, all the behind the scenes shit is like these Satanists are there watching them and doing everything they can to interfere with their lives to make sure that things go according to their plan. They have this strategically planned out.
The blue light is Paimon, though.
The yellow light is Paimon.
Yellow light?
Yeah, like when he falls out the window, there's a yellow light that goes onto his back and goes into him. There was a yellow light.
It's supposed to be the same light, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a blue.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've read so much on this movie trying to understand why people like it, and I just Anyways, you guys go ahead and talk about the movie. what you like about it and stuff.
I've always felt. I feel like you're on the other spectrum of horror movies.
I like to enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I
guess you
don't like dramas.
But you don't like
and this movie, first and foremost, is a family drama. And it's the same as The Witch. Like, it's just a family drama. And I don't like that aspect of movies because there's already enough shit like that in life that I want to watch something that's like I'll go to a theater and I'll watch 2 hours of a family trapped in a house during a hurricane with alligators chasing them and trying to chomp them, because to me that's fun and that's like something that'll get me on the edge of my seat and excited. But like when it's literally just like a full 2 hours and 4 minutes and you feel every moment of it and it's literally just family talking to each other the entire time.
So which movie do you think felt longer? That one or the one we watched last week?
Hard Ticket to Ohio.
See, and I think, Kenny, like, I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm thinking that, like, that added aspect of that family drama adds a piece of realness to it, where otherwise it would be a completely outrageous movie, right?
If you put yourself in the situation of that family, it's just fucking heartbreaking.
This is the thing, is I understand that as well. Like one of my favorite horror movies to come out recently is The Conjuring 2, which does something very similar. It's like all based around a family going something similar. But I think for this movie...
That's it's a true story, that one.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. It's like, with this movie, the entire time I watched it, like the first time I watched it, I don't know if I ruined it for myself, but like within the first 10 minutes, I already had most of it pieced together. The only thing I didn't piece together was that it was going to be Paimon. I always thought it was going to be the devil from the get-go, and I was like, this is just going to be some Rosemary's Baby bullshit, except instead of having a baby, it's going to be hereditary because of the title. It's going to be something that's passed on that only the family can inherit. So I was like, okay, that's how this is going to go. Just sit back and try and enjoy it. And honestly, I really enjoyed this movie the first time I watched it, and even this time, up until the point where the daughter lost... Okay, spoilers... for anybody who's listening to this, to where the daughter lost her head. I was invested in this movie. But then after that, it was like everything that the lead actress, Toni Collette, and the son, Alex Wolff, did, I just couldn't relate to anything they were doing. It felt like so cartoonish to me that the only relatable character in this movie to me was the father.
I liked Steve. I think he was like the anchor of this family, right? Like he was the one that's like, no, you're batshit. Like
I
you're
felt
also
so bad for him.
He's also the only one that felt like somewhat real to me as a character. And I think that's my biggest issue with this is like I can go watching a horror movie like that's just so ridiculous because it puts it out there right away that it's ridiculous, where this is like pitching itself to me as like for me there was so many factors where there was like everybody was telling me the greatest movie of the past 20 years, it's better than The Exorcist, it'll scare the crap out of you. And then once that head thing happens, I was like, okay, I'm ready, this is where it's going to turn. And then there's another hour and a half of slow buildup and I'm just like, I'm fucking over this.
Yeah.
And even the second watch, I felt that again.
When she lost her head too, I was expecting, I think that's what probably killed it for you was I was expecting there to be a big blow up, but it was like probably 5 minutes before there was even a word said, and it was like, I mean, I've never been in a situation like that, but I don't think that's how it would go.
So how did you feel when he'd been awake all night and he was just waiting for the moment that his mum walked out and found her?
Yeah, like if that happened to me and I was driving and my sister was in the back like that, I wouldn't just drive away from there. I'd probably go grab her head for one.
I mean, I would like to think that I would also do the same, but you have no fucking idea.
Well, I know, like that's what I'm saying. You don't know because you can't put yourself completely in that situation.
So
but
like my
I guess it's just a different take on how it could go, right? And it's just like when it happened, there wasn't the big explosion after.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
like
what
that,
was
though.
very weird.
They didn't bring up, like Peter didn't talk about it at all until that dinner scene, like 30 minutes later.
But the thing
Because
is,
I wrote down multiple times, like, no Peter, no Peter, no Peter. Like, nobody talked about it.
But for me, that's like an issue for me with like story and continuity where it's like, okay, this major thing happens, but then nothing's explained. It's literally the next day he's back at school smoking weed with his friends and like life is going on like nothing happened. We aren't given the time frame between that either. So we don't know if it's 6 months later or we don't know. So it's like I just personally don't feel it after that moment. And it's just so convoluted to me that I can't follow it in any real way.
So when Peter goes to school like the next day and he's smoking weed and then his throat hurts, was that to show that the king transferred from her to him?
No, so when people suffer from trauma, they have like panic attacks and stuff like
what
that.
It was supposed to be.
But it's
That's what I was
also
going to say. It looks like a panic attack.
when you smoke weed as well, sometimes you have bad reactions to it. So like sometimes you just have a bad high and you start to get anxious and stuff. So it could just be a combination of that where he started having anxiety and guilt, everything at once, and he just needed to get out of that trip or that high or that feeling, right? So
I wrote down that Peter actually said he's having a reaction when he's under the bleachers. He says, I'm having a reaction.
Right. So
that makes sense.
The payment thing doesn't happen until we see the light happen. Payment does transfer to the mom at some point.
That's what when they're doing the seance there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But it doesn't go to Peter because if you remember reading the book, you have to break the person down completely before you can possess them.
Yeah.
So that's why they were like, okay, we'll take away his grandmother, we'll take away his sister, then we'll take away his parents, and then we'll shock him to death with these naked Satanists, and then he'll go to kill himself, and while he's dying, that's when he'll be his most vulnerable, and they'll be able to give Payman the male host that he's wanted. The other issue I have with that is once the transformation's complete, Payman is there, but it's like he doesn't know he's Payman and he can't really do anything for them. So it's like it's literally just Charlie in his body now. So what's going to happen now? It's just going to be Charlie and Peter's body, like, clucking. Like,
Well, no,
we haven't seen any abilities from
the
Payman
reason
at all.
why Payman didn't give them anything is because they didn't give him a good host.
In Charlie or Peter?
Charlie.
Yeah.
He was never supposed to be born into Charlie.
Right.
Right, but why was, like, Charlie not self-aware about that at all then? Like even
Because
when
it
she
was-
transfers,
it was
it's
always
Charlie
Payman.
in Peter, but confused, looking around, doesn't know what's going on, and they have to explain it to him to be like, you're actually Lord Payman, you're not Charlie. Chill the fuck out. We worship you so you can give us power and stuff. And it just kind of stands there and they put a crown on him and he's just kind of like, cluck.
All right.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna have this cool payoff with the riches and stuff, like there's a
but
movie
they don't show you the payoff. They just show you like it's done. They've
right, but how do we know it's
successfully-
Payman? How do we know it's not actually just Charlie that was like possessing Peter now?
Because Charlie was Payman.
How do we know that?
Come on, man.
How do you know? You're just going off of like.
Well, Payman was obviously in her writing like the names on the walls.
Everything
and-
points to it. The sculptures that she was making.
Okay, but was
taking the heads off the
Payman
stuff.
coexisting with Charlie then?
No, it is Charlie. That's why they still called him Charlie.
Like, okay, I don't know. This just isn't making sense to me in the fact that it's still like when it transfers to Peter, it's still the personality of a fucking 13-year-old girl in his body.
Well, she never.
So
I get
we
by
know
name.
that?
I fully understand that you hate the movie because it is in itself, it is a pretentious movie, no doubt. And I fully understand that there's very little enjoyment, I guess, to come from it.
But another thing I hate about this movie is people that go, you don't like it because you don't understand it. I do understand it, and I'm afraid that that's where you're going with this.
I'm not going there
But-
with it at all.
For me-
you probably do understand it. I'm not sure I understand it fully.
But I mean, for me as a viewer, it's like hard to just trust that that's Payman in his body just based off of the Satanist saying, okay, that's that. Because we haven't seen anything from Payman at all in the movie. Okay, there's been writing showing up, but we haven't seen Charlie write it. We haven't seen like any abilities or anything like that from
She cut a
Payman
head off
himself.
of a bird.
You could fucking do that. That's not.
You
that's
think
not
I
king
could
of,
do that? I wouldn't do that.
You could though. That's not
couldn't.
king of hell shit.
I think that part of this movie that I really appreciated, and it's the same thing I felt about when I watched the Blair Witch Project, is that piece of like the unknown. Like it's the unknown that you
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
And
it.
I actually would have been more upset if there was a big payoff at the end where
if
like
they fully
geysers come out or
explained
there's
everything
volcanoes
through the movie,
Yeah.
it would have just been another movie like that.
Because the whole movie is just like this build up, and then it's like 20 minutes of batshit crazy
Yeah.
nuts, like smashing heads falling off.
That's it. Yeah, it's not crazy
Yeah,
through the
and then
entire
it's-
movie. It's just uncomfortable.
And then there's this angelic music. She floats up
Yeah.
to the
Right.
to the treehouse.
I
and
guess
then,
for me, I just need Payman to acknowledge that he's Payman to have that sort of come around for me because I
Okay.
can't believe it's Payman. Like if Payman looked at the followers after they did the transfer and stuff
Yeah,
and
he's
just
like,
like
"Sup?"
put his hand on them and just said, "Thank you, my child," or something like that, I would have been like, "Okay, fuck
Cool.
yeah, it makes sense. This is actually that fucking
Yeah,
person they've been trying to
so
conjure."
you just don't like the open ending.
It's not even the open ending. It's just like, how do we know it's Payman? Rather, like, because I could be like, okay, Kyle, I love you. I worship you. You're a fucking werewolf.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all it. Like, I'm just like,
People say that they're friggin' crackers nowadays. Like
Well,
you can be whatever you want.
right.
But there's like significant build up throughout the movie that indicates that is what is happening.
and I also think like if he is Peter, but I think I agree with Patrick. I think it was Charlie now. Also, you're seeing the dead body of your grandma and your mom in front of you too.
Yeah,
Like I think there's a
with-
value of shock as
with-
well.
but it's
and I
not-
get what you're saying that if
it's not the grandma and mom though. It's Payman.
right, but if
So it's a demon. It would just look at it and
Charlie.
be like, okay, these people have sacrificed for me.
But,
Great.
okay,
for me, that
so-
doesn't make sense. It
Yeah,
feels like
is,
it's
is that,
still
is that
a
not
girl.
something that explains it though? The fact that this kid is looking at both his dead grandma
I
and his
think,
dead mom
But that's the
completely
thing. It's
headless.
a kid.
I think
It's
what
not
Kenny's
Payman.
confused.
It's not a king of hell.
Okay, I think what you're confused about is that Payman, you're thinking that Payman should have his memories of being around for thousands and thousands of years. Whereas I think in this movie, when it was born as Charlie, he was just born then.
Yeah, they don't.
And now he's transferred into Peter's body and is being told, you are a king of of hell.
Right.
They
So
are
it's
literally
Rosemary's
conjuring
Baby,
someone
except-
into existence from nothing.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
But they didn't want to tell him that he was king of hell until he had his host, because
Yeah.
they didn't want him to get upset and say, like, why am I in a lady's body?
Yeah.
But he wouldn't get upset because he doesn't know that he's not supposed to be in a lady's
But
body.
if they would have told him and he was in a lady's body, eventually he would
But
be
how
upset.
how would he know?
they-
Unless he
if they-
did
if they
research
tried-
on himself. This is what I'm saying, is he doesn't have those pre-existing memories, which means he doesn't have the pre-existing notion that he prefers to be in a boy's body.
You're a king, Kenny.
He doesn't know he's a king.
He
Thinks he's Charlie, a little kid.
If he was still in Charlie's body and they told him, you are a king of hell, he
Right.
would look and be like, I have tits. Why the fuck did you put me in a woman's body? You
They-
guys
they
couldn't
might-
have done fucking better than this?
There might not have been an instant realization that
Exactly. It might
but
have
the-
taken a couple years.
the payoff
but
that they would have gotten
So
wouldn't
it's-
have been anywhere near
So
the
it
same
goes back
value.
to sleepaway camp. You grow up being told that you're a little girl, even though you're a guy. You're still a little girl,
yeah.
or you're still a guy.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Do not fucking put tranny tricked in this fucking podcast.
I'm not going. Well, I probably could because it was a girl that's technically a guy. But
But do you get what I'm saying? It's just
I,
the way
I
you
get
look
what
at it.
you're
I guess.
saying, and I guess the difference is you guys are kind of settling for that piece of it, whereas I feel like I need more from it. I
I'm
feel
still
like
trying
it's
to
a
figure it
cop-out.
out too. Like, I'm not very
Me
smart
too.
with shit like this, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out. And I think that's what they're trying to do is they finally found the host and they know they can make the king happy now. So then they've told him.
Right, and that I understand, but I also like it's either you have your memories or you don't have your memories.
Well, he's
It's-
not
you're
going to
not-
have his memories. He's not. That's why they're.
So that's
telling
why I'm
him.
saying, why does it matter if he's in the boy's body, the girl's body, the dad's body? Why?
Okay.
Like, why does it
All right,
matter?
If you were-
let's say this then. So he's in Charlie's body. They tell him he's the king of hell.
Okay, they say you're a king of hell.
He starts realizing that he has all these abilities,
Cool.
but then realizes that the bodies that he's in isn't actually a healthy host.
Why not?
Because you can safely assume that she was probably cast in there. I don't know whether that's true or not, but she's a weird kid.
Well,
Right.
even besides that, it comes back to the fact that, like, if you are a king of something, like, even if you're the king of a castle, okay, and you're told you're born a woman, and then you're told that you're a king,
You're born a woman
You're-
and you're told that you rule the castle.
you're told you're the king of the castle because there's already a queen.
So you're putting gender norms on a fucking non-existing
All right,
entity with
now
that
how
freedom
about
existing.
this? So
You're
let's
told
say
you're a king.
I get what
Let's-
you're saying.
Do you know what I
Kyle.
mean? You're told you're a king.
Yeah.
Eventually, growing up, you're going to be pissed off.
Right.
You guys
so
have
if you grew up being told you're a queen,
I would be pissed off because,
because
especially when
you weren't born as a woman. That's
it
what you're
doesn't.
saying.
No, but it doesn't come to that. It's the fact that you're a king and you're in power. When you're like a king is a very
A king is just
high
a
name.
term
exactly
for a ruler.
For a ruler, a male ruler. Have you ever seen a female king?
No, but it doesn't matter because it's
fucking
still,
right. Both of you shut the fuck up for a second.
I was just going to
Right.
say in the book, when Annie's reading the book and she's reading about King Payman, that he possesses vulnerable people, and
Right.
there's the highlighted paragraph is
And he
talking
prefers
about
male
the-
hosts.
Yeah.
there's like, yeah.
Right,
So,
so if he-
imagine this. You are born with the ability to fucking shoot fire out of your hands.
Fuck yeah, done.
You don't know that.
Doesn't matter if I'm a
Because-
man or a woman. I
but
can shoot
no,
fire out of my
will
fucking
you
hands.
just fucking listen? You don't know that you can shoot fire out of your hands
Right,
because
I've
you
seen
don't know
X-Men.
how to do it.
Right,
So later on in your life, I say, "Oh yeah, you just have to do that."
done.
Then
There
you
you go.
realize that you have these abilities,
Right,
right?
but if you were like,
so if
but-
I'd never come along and told you how to do that, you would have died not realizing that you had that power.
Fine. But also, if you would have came along and told me that and you were like, the only condition is you have to have a vagina, I'd be like, shit, I'm out of luck.
I feel like we're really getting stuck on the gender part of this.
Yeah,
and it's not like a,
But that's,
like it's
that's
just
a
a part
big
of the
thing
movie.
for me, though, is the gender thing is like, why was she not a proper host? Like, that's not explained to me in a way that like makes enough sense, where they have to go out of their way to make sure that Peter is the one that's possessed, other than just because the book states that he prefers the host.
And that's,
but Payman doesn't have, like, from what we've gathered from the character in the movie, doesn't seem to have any sort of fucking care.
so here's
About
the
that.
thing.
But how
is-
would we know if he has a care if he doesn't technically talk? You know
There
what
you
I
go.
mean?
So why? Well, how do we care that he's upset that he's in the girl's body though? Because he
Okay.
doesn't talk either.
He
doesn't.
I think the people that are underneath the king were fearful to tell him that he was the king,
I
because
get
they
that.
didn't, and that's why they never told him until they found him a male host. They told him in fear of him like finding out he's in a woman's body. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now they know that he could be potentially happy, and they were fearful he wouldn't have been happy with them if he was.
Right, and I understand that, but like I said, like, there's no indication that it is Payman to show that, okay, there's this real danger of him being unhappy about the host. Like, if they inserted like one or two different things, it would have made the movie a lot easier for me to digest. But because it's like such like
It's
up
an
for interpretation, and it's
Anyways,
such a
I don't think we're going to change Kenny's mind, you
No,
guys.
but
Sorry.
it's it's an interpretation movie, really.
Yeah.
It is there, and it's artistic and everything.
So
That's what
one of the reasons why I probably like this movie more than is warranted is the whole idea of this like summoning. Like, people try and do that shit still, like, realistically, and that fucking fascinates me.
That's terrifying
Like,
to me.
it's
I wouldn't
so
fuck with any of
bizarre.
that stuff.
Like, the amount of mythology surrounding this sort of stuff, and it is wildly interesting, all the different things that these supposed deities can actually do.
I listen to a lot of podcasts about myths and legends and stuff, and that's exactly it, is lots of the things that these, like, and different, like, Norse and Greek and all those different things can do. It's, like, kind of scary, but kind of cool, too, at the same time.
Yeah, I would if I had a friend that was like, yeah, come over, we're hanging out. There's like 5 or 6 of us, you know, we're just hanging out drinking,
We're all
and all of a
naked.
sudden they fucking started they started putting on candles and like, yeah, we're gonna try like this seance thing. We found this old book and blah blah blah. I'd be like, peace, guys, never talking to you again. Like, I would not fuck with that stuff.
But there's some people who are super into that.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I don't
Like,
want to be
how
part
interested?
of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck up my life.
I'd never be part of it, but it's just the fact that it probably still happens more
For
than
sure.
we
Oh, yeah,
would care to
definitely.
admit.
That's why these movies are still being made, and like The Conjuring and all those. Like, it's a really popular genre, is this like possession.
Did
Right?
you ever try any of that shit, Kenny?
hell yeah, hell Satan. No, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. I can't express why this movie doesn't click for me, and I'm glad it clicks for you guys. I'm glad it's a movie that's out there for you guys to enjoy. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Not
I
every
don't know.
movie is for every person,
No,
right?
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
hated
yeah.
Hard
But
Ticket
it's
to
good to
Hawaii,
have a
yeah.
conflicting opinion too, because it makes
It makes for a
right?
much more interesting podcast if at
Yeah.
least one of us fucking hates the movie. maybe all right, how about this? Maybe we should nominate one person. Say if everyone likes the movie, one of us by default has to hate it.
has to be the devil's advocate.
It's always gonna be Patrick.
I
No,
mean,
man. And that's the thing, though, is like, I really like that you like this movie, and that's why I gave it a second shot, to be
Yeah.
honest, is because,
I
like,
get you.
I felt like I've put you through enough shit that I
no,
owe you.
just last week. Last week
But, like,
was fucking
but man,
difficult.
like, I don't know, man.
Okay.
It's just like it's something like, it's, for me, this movie is like the Drake of movies for me, where it's like a phenomenon to the world.
Now you're dissing Drake.
And it's something I will never understand. Like, it doesn't work for me. And on paper, if I wrote it out and was just like, okay, so he writes loves songs and this, and it's like, I work it down to a formula, and I look at the formula, It's like there will be missing pieces that just make no sense to me. Like for most things, it has to either be nothing makes sense or everything makes sense. There's no in between where like 3/4 of the movie makes sense and then there's a chunk missing. And that's like the reason why I don't like movies like Batman versus Superman. If they throw one thing in that ruins it for me, that the whole movie sucks to me.
Okay.
Like the Sonic trailers.
So
like, if one design is fucked up, then you're not going to enjoy the movie. Like if one thing is off, that's it.
I feel like there's more than one thing off about the Sonic movie.
Well, but we haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying, like in regards to
question for you, Kenny. Besides the plot line and the holes in the movie and things that you couldn't quite wrap your head around, what about the movie did you like? Did you like any of the artistic shots? Any of the...
Okay, so the first time I watched it, the very beginning of it, I was definitely intrigued by where they were going with the miniatures.
Yeah. I loved the very opening scene where they had like the room and brought it into the actual room.
Right.
It was
and it made for some beautiful
good
shots. And the thing is there is a lot of good cinematography in this, but it also got to a point where it was like it's almost like the dude needed to film everything and do it super artistically. Like I'm like if he had a scene where it was like the kid in the bathroom stall taking a shit and it was like sweat dripping down his head and he did like a real artistic pan to him and like followed the sweat down and stuff, it could fit in this movie just because he literally just was doing everything so artistically that it was like, okay, well this is like unnecessary for me. This movie's already 2 hours long.
See, yes, I agree with the over-the-top artistic or need to show his artistic ability, but this movie compared to many others, I didn't find very many scenes that weren't necessary.
I personally felt like 3/4 of this movie was unnecessary. Like I said, you could take the first part of like the grandma passing away, them going to the party, the sister dying, and then after that you could probably cut out like an hour of it and it would be totally fine for a movie.
Okay,
but they're trying to show all the misery.
Right, but they're showing it from the mom's perspective, not from his perspective. So the thing is like the whole movie is like the mom is the main character, where the movie is actually about Peter.
Question. In this hand is a DVD of Hereditary, the movie from 2018. However, in this hand...
I'm not eating shit.
Well...
No, like
I
dude,
mean, if you would...
I bought Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I like bad movies, and the thing is I can enjoy parts of this movie. Like in the theater when the floating stuff happened, I had no problems laughing at it and stuff. But it's so like in a normal context, I can watch this and laugh if it's those scenes. But it's the hour and a half of like exposition of characters talking and literally just sitting and filming just their faces with like shitty sad violin playing with like tuba going wow over and over again, that I'm like, okay, well this is just here to make people feel uncomfortable. I get it. It's adding an awkward tension tone for people. For me, that doesn't work. For me, that's just prolonging the part of the movie that I actually want to see. And that's what frustrates me, because I'm like, this is 2 hours of my fucking life. Mm-hmm. Give me something that's worth watching and that's like gonna be part of the story rather than just throwing stuff in, right? Just for the sake of having it. And I think that's why I get so worked up and frustrated about this. Yeah. And it's like in a reviewing aspect like this, I need to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
If I was watching this with friends and it was just on and maybe I had a fucking Game Boy or something going and I didn't have to watch that hour and a half the whole time, I'd be fine. Like I'd watch that part and I'd laugh and like I'd chuckle with you guys. I'd watch him slam his face into the desk and be like, yeah, that's brutal. But like other than that, it's like there's so much of the time I'm just sitting there just being like, I'm waiting for the next scene. And I don't know if it's my second viewing that I know what's coming too, that I felt like I'm waiting longer for it maybe.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Let's read some of these reviews, see what other people said.
Sorry, buddy, you okay? You're being awfully quiet over there.
No, we're good, man. We're good. I got my review ready to
But
go.
before you guys read your reviews, let's talk about stuff that you guys did really enjoy, and if there was anything that you guys didn't like about it, because
I don't know if there's much more
I feel like
to say about it.
Us three have covered it plenty.
you guys kind of liked everything.
Well, like I said, there's some of the shots and
Like, what about this
stuff that I
movie
didn't like,
makes it
but-
stand out from other horror movies for you? Like, if you threw this up against A Quiet Place, which I think is a phenomenal movie.
But I haven't seen a lot of horror movies, right? So
Right.
I'm trying to get into them, and like, I mean, for me, this wasn't like the greatest movie of all time, but it did make me feel uneasy a lot of the time. I got quite into it, and for me, the family drama part of it really brought me in and made me feel like I was there. You know what I mean? And I think that's why those parts are in there, is to pull a normal person in.
Right. So you really like the family drama build-up stuff then?
Yeah, it
I think you should give The Witch a shot then. That's a movie that's similar in tone, and it's a slow burn like this that a lot of people who like this movie love. It's another movie that I just don't like for the same reasons I don't like this movie.
I would say The Witch is not as good, probably more pretentious. If
I'm not gonna lie, there's parts of the last 15 minutes of The Witch I liked more than the last 15 minutes of this movie.
I can't remember The Witch because it was a good few years ago that I watched it, but I remember it being a bit fucking weird throughout.
Yeah,
But that was as much as I can remember.
If I was to say the last scary movie that I watched that I really liked, which could so far be my favorite, is Don't Breathe. It just made me feel fucking terrified at many parts of
similar feelings that I had watching Don't Breathe, I had watching Overlord, which is why I really want to watch that one, and The Descent, which was another movie me and Patrick were talking about showing you. There's like a sense of anxiety that you get watching certain scenes in both of those movies.
Your pick is Overlord,
Mine's
right?
going to be Overlord.
I might have to choose The Descent then, because I feel like that's something, if you haven't seen,
I think it's a
should
pretty
watch.
solid pick.
Yeah. They didn't need any sequels for it, but like as a standalone movie that kind of went under the radar a little bit, I think.
Well, I think Overlord did too, which is why
it was in theaters for like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Tops. It's fucking wild.
like a couple weeks.
Yeah, me and Raph were well stoked to go and see it, and it was fucking gone.
Yeah, man.
It was replaced by Crazy Rich Asians, which made me want to shoot myself.
I went and saw it on Remembrance Day, which is probably not good timing to go see it. But it's another movie that I feel like I think you would enjoy. But yeah, no, The Witch might be one you'd like. And another one, if you like Hereditary, I'm going to suggest these to people. These are movies I don't like, but they're not for me, is The Witch and Killing of a Sacred Deer is another one. I think it's got Nicole Kidman in it. A lot of weird tension, but yeah, it's not for everyone. So if you like Hereditary, you guys add that to your list and check that one out if you're listening.
I think one of the things that I really liked, there's 3 things I really liked about this movie. The first one was starting right from the beginning. There's that same symbol on, I wrote down, the grandma's neck when they're burying her.
Cross rip-off.
Yeah, on the lamppost that eventually takes Charlie's head. The book in the attic, it was written above that body. And then on the effigy at the end.
Did you notice the triangles as well?
Yes.
Triangles carved in
room and
tables, the floors, the walls.
Also, the symbol was also on the grandma's dress in the attic.
Yeah. It was, and I love that. I thought that kind of tied it all together. The other thing that I really liked was that the shots. I thought how it was shot as the movie went on got a little bit more interesting, if that makes sense. Like Annie, when she's running through the house and the camera flips and shows the ceiling, I thought was almost foreshadowing to when she gets possessed.
Yeah.
I thought it got more crazy the longer it went on, which was,
I like the shots
sense.
too. Like when there was a time where they were when she was driving the car right before she meets that lady who gives her, Joan. she's like reversing, and
Yes.
it's just a dash cam basically, but it was a really cool. It was a really cool shot.
That scene reminded me, if you guys have seen the Office episode where Michael's like pulling away and he hits Meredith with his car. That's why I was laughing, because he started pulling forward and she was like, "Wait!" And I just pictured Michael Scott hitting Meredith, and it had
Oh,
me.
jeez.
What was the third thing?
Oh, the scene of Peter in the classroom. That was
There's
when he
trivia
awesome.
about that.
That
his
was
face?
horrifying.
There's trivia about that.
That was
Should we read these reviews? Are they like, in your opinion, are they worth reading?
I feel like it might help if you're a listener and you're still on the fence about the movie. It might help you kind of decide where you'd fall. If you want to check it out or not.
right.
They're not like the greatest reviews ever. They're not as good as the hard ticket one where it's
Let's,
like, I watched
let's
this
run
on
through these
Christmas
then.
Eve.
Let's run through the reviews so that we can do the trivia, because I'm curious. Did you find out the budget for this?
Yeah, so the budget was about 10 million and it made about 44 million.
Yeah, see, the budget was the one thing that bothered me, because I wasn't sure.
Well, they
with
spent
some
all
the
of their
shots and
money on
stuff.
the miniatures that they ended up destroying.
actually.
Probably. I don't think getting artists to build those miniature houses and stuff would be cheap.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
Like that's a
they
fucking
were
specialty thing.
pretty
They were
fucking
pretty good,
ridiculously
yeah.
good.
And that's what I'm saying is like something like that is like a cool idea. And I feel like if they would have lent that into being a bigger part of the movie rather than just the mom's job and like a way to like deal with shit in a weird way, I feel like it's something
Yeah.
that could have lent itself to the story.
If they could afford to live in that house off of her salary of making those things, they'd probably sell for quite a bit, because I don't think the
yeah.
dad fucking worked.
Well, he was in
He
an
had a
office at
job,
one
but
point.
what did he do?
He had a keyboard but no computer screen, which was confusing.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like that dad, man, that the guy who, like the actor and the character and everything about that is like the most relatable thing in this movie. But
I
how
agree.
that
I think he
dad
was
felt
probably
in
the best,
movie-
the best character in or actor in the movie, though. Honestly,
Yeah, he was just
he didn't
barely
have a
holding it together.
whole
Yeah.
bunch of parts. Like, he wasn't in it a whole lot, but his parts were.
It was more
killed
like
them.
his facial expressions of just
Yeah.
like, oh my fucking
And it's-
god, this is falling apart.
And I feel like that's when acting is important.
Oh yeah,
And like, I literally felt like I was in his shoes when she was asking him to burn the book, and he was like trying to like be like, how in the fuck do I go through this situation?
I
Like,
was
my
just gonna
wife is
say,
crazy.
like he's the only person who's like, hey, maybe we should call the police.
yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
another fucking. I don't even. Okay, let's.
I knew
let's
that was
read
gonna
these reviews.
triggered.
My God, man. And how do you not have a fucking EpiPen?
Yeah,
if you
no
have that
shit.
severe of an allergy.
It's 2018. Who at that party did
Okay,
not have an
okay.
EpiPen?
Right.
All right,
That dude's been smoking mad doobies, bro.
all right. Let's get
As
these
they
going.
would say. And
Who's
Go.
got the 1 out of 10?
I've got it. I'll go first then. This is by
yeah, this one's a little bit of a longer review, just because it's a 1 out of 10. And when
Yeah,
I
I'll
read
bush
it,
it out.
I felt like it hit on some things that.
This is from Nature Nomad from June 2018. It's a 1 out of 10. He says, biggest disappointment of 2018. Wow, what can I say? I've been anticipating this film since hearing about it from Sundance. The problem with critics and the buzz surrounding the film was that it was way too hyped to the point where I was expecting the holy grail of terror. I get that, because it happens with video games now as well.
Well, it was almost like with The Conjuring too, where they had a priest blessing people. But the thing is, when I went and saw The Conjuring, it had me scared. Where when I watched this movie, it was just kind of like, fuck.
I agree. There is more things in The Conjuring to be scared of, but there's not as many things in The Conjuring to make you feel bad, almost.
Right.
Like
it's-
I felt bad for the family in this movie.
I feel like they're comparable movies. I just feel like The Conjuring doesn't spend extra time like dwelling on the grieving process. This movie spent so much time grieving, where in The Conjuring it's like, okay, the fucking dog's dead. The next day people are getting killed. The next day this is happening. Where this it feels like it's a process.
So where was
Which
I?
makes sense.
What me and my audience got was a decent and compelling start that crash lands into a. Why did I say descent? It says decent.
A
What
decent and
fucking
compelling start.
Gimp. Decent and compelling start that crash lands into a comedy of errors. This film was just not terrifying, nor was it goosebump inducing. I just stared blankly at the screen, feeling muted and emotionless. I love slow burn horror and films that are filled with dread. This had some very good, compelling premise, but somehow the director decided to go artsy-fancy and surreal, pretentious in the final minutes of the film. And boy, did my audience... Why is he calling it his audience?
Well, probably the audience in the theater that he was in.
It's not yours, though, you fucking goof.
If he says the audience, it's so general.
Well, yeah, it is a general audience, though, is it not? He didn't make the movie. Cheeky fucker.
So he's
Okay.
saying a lot of the same shit as Kenny.
Trust me, it was not nervous laughter, but the kind you hear at a Farrelly Brothers movie. Wait, this was supposed to be a horror film. How does it suddenly transform into a lame, campy Mummy Dearest meets Rosemary Baby's unintentional comedy? Everyone booed and hissed on the way out of the theatre. Literally the worst ending to a genre movie in ages. I was waiting for a Natalie Portman to come out in black swan-smeared kabuki makeup and some kind of cameo. This generation's Exorcist.
Have you seen Black Swan?
Oh, yeah.
So he's comparing it to that, where like the ending is just so unsatisfying and like...
I like that movie too.
That movie I liked, though. Even the ending, I was like okay with it because
Me
it
too.
was so vague. But it
Yeah,
committed to
that's-
being vague.
It just waffles. That's basically everything important from that.
But yeah, so essentially, it was the reason I wanted you to read that one is because it was a similar experience that I had, where it might have taken away from my first viewing the fact that everybody in the theater was clucking, and everybody had the same reactions. So it was like weird because a horror movie you're in. Okay, have you guys seen The Visit?
Yes.
I don't know. No,
I
haven't.
don't know. It's
Okay,
not-
you know how the vibe of The Visit is it's a horror movie, but there's a lot of like weird, strange, uncomfortable humor in it.
Yeah.
And it commits to that. That's what it's trying to do. This movie, when I went to the theater, had the vibe of The Visit where people were laughing when they shouldn't be. And to me, that was an indicator that this wasn't a successful scene. Because
I feel like
everybody's laughing.
Depends, like the mindset that you have when you see those kind of scenes. Like if you've already had the movie ruined by an earlier scene that was maybe kind of humorous, everything from then on you might find more funny than what you would have otherwise.
Right. Like from the get-go, from the beginning of the movie where they're at the funeral and there's that one fucking dude lurking with a weird smile. Chuckle City. And then going forward, it's like the girl starts clucking and then everybody started clucking and then it's like, it just,
I thought you liked movies like
spiraled
that, like
out,
throwing
man.
spoons at the screen and stuff.
I do, but not when it's trying to be like, because those movies are so bad that it knows it's bad. It's self-aware at that point, and the audience is self-aware. But if you go in thinking you're going to see The Exorcist or The Conjuring or something that's genuinely supposed to scare you, and you spend more time laughing than actually feeling like uncomfortable, it just takes away from it.
That's why I don't like going to the movies, really, because your audience
It's very dependent on
yeah.
how you like
and the
process
people
the film.
around you, right?
True, but also, have you been to a movie that's been genuinely scary with an audience that's also scared with you?
Well, when we
No,
went to
never.
No.
It intensifies.
when we went to Don't
everything.
Breathe, it was like no one was fucking breathing when we were in
Exactly.
there.
And I think
Like-
because we went to it in the theater, I think we probably appreciate that movie more because
Yeah.
we had that mutual experience. Like it's like when you like with Get Out, movies like Get Out or Us and stuff like that. There's scenes that people are going to laugh at and stuff, but it doesn't take away from it because everybody's in it together. And then there's scenes that are just so uncomfortable. It's just like, I don't know. I think it's a mutual feeling that everybody has. And I think it makes you, I don't think it like makes you feel those feelings if somebody else has it, but I think it makes you be able to accept those feelings easier. Like if a scene's funny and you want to laugh, if you're at home by yourself, you're not going to laugh. But if other people are laughing, you're going to be laughing. So it can ruin it. But also if
Yeah.
you're getting the shit scared out of you and everybody else is scared around you and everybody else is on the edge of their seat, that adds to that tension. But yeah, anyways,
Okay.
5 out of 10 review.
That's me. That's me.
Okay. Sorry
Okay.
for talking so much about this one.
So this is by Sakura 12.
Because Sakrug 11 was already taken. He's not even paying
So
attention to me.
overrated. There was something about the hype of this movie that seemed fake, and you knew the critics would fall in line, scared to be wrong. There are so many useless film critics out there, it's predictable. This is not a terrible movie, it's just very flawed and shamefully undercooked. So the good. The special effects scares are great. The daughter is great, but underused. The story has potential and is somewhat interesting. So the bad. The director threw in everything but the kitchen sink as far as plot. The film needs editing, not just cuts, but an entire re-edit. The son is totally miscast, and his physical differences from the rest of the family take you further out of the movie.
That's what Kyle said too, remember? Where he was like, oh, I was wondering why the son looks so different from the rest of the family.
Yeah.
Some mediocre acting by son and father that bring the film down. The whole film needs tightening up. Maybe make sure these young guys, who all look the same, you may notice, get a bit more experience in movie production before you hand them a multi-million-dollar project. Movie execs? Question mark?
So, when it comes to the son being a different ethnicity, what I was thinking is when the mom had the dream about telling the son that she didn't want him and tried everything to get rid of him, I was thinking maybe she had an affair.
I was going to say
And
that's
one of the
his
main
father.
reasons why she didn't want him. That, and as well that she knew that if she had a son, then he would just fall into this whole thing.
Right. Did you guys also catch the scene at the self-help group where she was talking about her brother who committed suicide and how he did it because the mom kept putting
things in him.
People in him?
People in him.
Careful now.
Ooh.
No, well, that's
That's a different self-help group.
Yeah.
but
A whole different movie.
that makes me wonder like what else they were messing with if it's different people rather than, let's say it was Charlie or whatever it
Well,
would
I
have
think they'd probably been trying to get it to work for years because her grandma
right
was obviously supposed to be the queen.
Yeah.
But she died before it happened, so I guess that gives me the idea that it had been happening for fucking
And you know
decades.
what? Peter's body may not work too. That could be what they were trying to do as a sequel. Like they did leave it open-ended, right? So
I feel like if there's a sequel, it will probably be fucking garbage.
I agree.
I think we're gonna see an unattached universe where Midsummer is gonna be, like I said, like another King of Hell.
yeah.
I have a feeling that's
Or
where he's
Queen.
going with his movies.
Or because the grandma died, right? So
Well, the grandma wasn't like a queen of hell though. She was just like the quote unquote queen of the cult.
yeah, but someone's gonna have to do it now, right?
Who's got the 10 out of 10?
I do.
Nice.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I gave it to him because I didn't know how he would rate it, so I figured giving
fair.
you the 10 out of 10, I knew you'd love that movie as it is, and it's the shortest.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, so yeah, I can't read, so bear with me. This one's from Sports Monkey 10209.
I'm not going to say it, Patrick, don't worry.
I never want to see
Thank
this
you.
film again. And I
Much
mean
appreciated.
this in the best way possible. The spectrum of emotions you go through range from sheer terror to complete hopelessness and sorrow. The movie picks at the human psyche in all the right ways. It's both hard to watch and impossible to look away. Hands down the best horror films I've ever seen. Perhaps one of the best films in general.
Fair. Sorry, I had to take my headphones off. I've got sweaty ears. Proper moist.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't say that much.
I got to read this trivia because this fucking made me chuckle.
Yeah,
man.
let's go to
Let's run through
trivia.
the trivia and we can wrap this up.
Everybody's got two, so we'll just go around in a circle.
One of the trailers for Hereditary was accidentally shown at the beginning of a PG-rated, family-friendly film, Peter Rabbit, in Innaloo, Western Australia. It caused a small panic in the theatre with parents fleeing the cinema with their kids. The theatre eventually shut the screen off and offered every audience member a complimentary movie pass to apologise for the mistake.
So when Tori's watching YouTube videos and an ad comes up for a scary movie, She has to she just turns the volume down really quick, and she's like, "Tell me when I can look again." And that's exactly what I felt like it would be like.
And then the next one I had was, according to Alex Wolff, the original cut of the film could have easily pushed over 3 hours, mostly consisting of more family dialogue, which I guess would have been Kenny's ideal situation.
Man, if this movie was over 3 hours long, I would have fucking
we wouldn't have done it for the podcast.
I would have
no way.
sacrificed myself to say Tony.
I would have eaten a nugget of poo.
You probably would have walked out of the theater at that
We would have only just finished watching the movie if it was 3 hours. Can you fucking imagine? We'd probably get out of here by, I don't know, probably like 10 past 10 because we'd all be exhausted.
I would have committed seppuku like 10 minutes ago.
With a kitchen knife.
Okay, so I'll read through mine real quick, and then we'll go to Alannah and then Kyle. During this, I think this is something we touched on already, but I'm going to say it anyways. During the support meeting, Annie recounts her brother's suicide at age 16 and states that a suicide note blamed their mother for putting people inside him, though Annie chalks this up to schizophrenia, it could very well be that Ellen originally attempted to conjure Payman through her own son. His death and her failure to summon Payman would then explain why Ellen put so much pressure on Annie to have children, and why Charlie stated early on in the film that her grandmother wished she was a boy.
So if she tried to do this when he was 16, Ellie's got to be pretty committed, hey?
Yeah, I mean...
lots of the cult members did look older. So
yeah,
maybe it's
they've been around. You know, there's a lot of saggy titties. I didn't bother doing a tit count because I was just too repulsed.
I think 4. Oh,
there was a high dick count.
Yeah, there was a lot of cock. Are we counting the mannequin tits?
Yeah.
I want to say 8. No, 7, because one was covered.
The best one was the grandma over the bed trying to
take
my titty.
Is it just me, or was that thing fucking huge?
Yeah.
That was a big
the other one was just flat, and then there was this fucking udder coming out of her
Also,
top.
that was super creepy because Annie talks about how, her mom, Ellie or whatever her name was,
insisted to feed her.
Insisted to feed her. So was she
that's what that
she was
actually
breastfeeding
feeding her?
Yes, and
Really?
also all of her sculptures were made of real life situations. If you think back on that as well.
Yeah. All right.
In an interview, Alex Wolff explains that he wanted to actually break his own nose for the scene where his character slams his head into a desk. Oof. Director Ari Aster respectfully declined that offer and told Wolff they'd give him a soft cushioned desk for the scene. When it was time for the scene to be shot, Wolff slammed his head into the desk only to discover that the top was foam and the bottom was hard. He dislocated his jaw, which was a previous injury the actor had had for the scene. So his jaw fucking just popped out of place when he slammed his face onto the desk. Just
what a lad.
There you go.
Fucking dedication.
And he wanted to break his nose.
It was a pretty damn good scene.
It was I think that was my favorite scene.
That
in the
was
movie.
to act something like that, you've got to be pretty talented.
See, that's the thing is I feel like everybody praises Toni Collette's performance in this movie, but for me, her performance was the one that was the most over top and unbelievable.
Too much, way too much in it, but
I get that. It was in some scenes it was a bit all right, love, chill out.
There's that one scene where it's don't talk to me like that. I'm your mother.
Yeah, that was probably out of everything. It was weirdly the easiest scene for them to have acted. Mm-hmm. But
Right.
for some reason, it was the worst scene.
And I've heard people say that that's an acting clinic. They should show this at acting school. It's something that people could learn from. And it's from the dad and the son sitting at the table. She was just going off on a monologue that was just
I liked when the son
outrageous
had
to me.
his comeback.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That,
Is
that was
talking
a
about that.
great
it felt like
way.
something that somebody would actually do, but
Yeah.
for her, everything just felt not real to me.
Just over the top, but yeah.
But yeah,
That
anyways.
was your other.
Yeah, that was my
Okay.
last trivia.
All right. Okay, so to make the chalkboard right on itself, the special effects team put a magnet in the chalk and put a magnet on the other side of the chalkboard to make the chalk move. It was very difficult to get a small magnet inside the chalk and make it write smoothly. So.
Yeah, that was I when I saw it happening, I was I knew exactly how they did it.
Well, there's that other scene with the candle. I don't know if I gave it to one of you, but they also had to figure out how to make the candle light itself and do the flame too. So that was another thing that they'd never done before that they had to figure out. So some shinfo.
I do like how every time that the cup moved, someone looked under the table to like be like,
because that's what you do.
Yeah.
You're like, there's no way. Okay, so the producer said that it worked out well. Like Gabriel and Alex had worked together, and Alex and Millie knew each other from school because it made Tony the outsider, which mirrored Annie's character and feelings of alienation within her own family. So I'm assuming those are the other members of the family.
Yeah, so the father, the son, and the daughter have all worked together before. So the mom was like a new actress, so that just made her a stranger in general, which added to the tone of her being just a crazy stranger. Anyways.
All right, my trivia is... Ari requested that Alex and Millie go out to eat in character a few times, and they would sit for up to 3 hours in silence while Millie wouldn't speak and Alex would try to get her to talk.
Imagine going to a restaurant and seeing like a brother and sister sitting at a table and she's just sitting there going... and he's like, you gotta eat something. And she's like, is there peanuts in it? Do they have an EpiPen?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool though, that he was like, he basically was like,
pretty dedicated.
You gotta like it. I think the lengths that he went to, because this was his first movie, his first full length movie. I think the lengths that he went to is like shown, and I do appreciate a lot of it. But I feel like he was trying way too hard to be strong out of the gate. That's my only complaint, I guess, is too much of everything.
All right. My last one here is the house was constructed completely on sets on a soundstage in Utah in order to follow Esther's shot list. They needed to be able to remove walls and ceilings in order to shoot the rooms to look exactly like miniatures.
So yeah, the whole house every part of it is able to be removed.
So it's like basically like a miniature, but full size.
Well, that's nuts.
So the whole shot where they go out and in and stuff like that,
I knew it had to be a soundstage when they showed the outside of the house and flipped it from like sun to dark. That was a really cool scene, but it was like you could just tell that they just changed the light or whatever. But it was really cool when they did it. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes, that's sorry. That's pretty much it for the movie. Unless you guys have anything else you want to say.
Nah, man.
Okay, well let's wrap this up. Thanks for actually, Alannah. We have a couple questions for you as a listener.
Oh yeah.
First of all, have you watched any of the movies that we've recommended for the first time since we started the podcast? So, like, for example, if we did an episode on Sleepaway Camp. Would you go watch the movie before you?
I haven't, but sometimes Kyle tells me like what you guys are doing. So like the Madeleine McCann thing, I watched the whole documentary before you guys talked about it so that I could listen to it, and that was awesome.
Yeah, so that was probably a bit of a fucking shambles.
No, I love that episode because I listen. When Kenny said he listens to a lot of true crime, so do I. Because
true crime's cool.
What we do. Yeah, I listen to probably about 15 true crime podcasts. I just love them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it was really interesting because I felt like I was listening. It was just something different too. So yeah, I appreciated that. That was good. So yes, I do.
What would be your favorite movie out of all the movies we've covered on the podcast so far?
For your review, I really enjoyed both Pet Sematary, I think.
Both of them?
Yes.
Interesting.
The reason I liked...
Hot takes over here.
The reason I liked both of them was that it seemed like you guys... like you and Kyle obviously had seen it a couple times, the beginning, the first one, and then going to see it in the theater. I love that continuity that like, okay, this is the first one, this is the second one. Because I was telling my partner, I was like, we should watch it. And he was like, well, the first one or the second one? I was like, both, because the podcast does this and it's cool. And We should watch both of them.
Yeah.
So I really, and I thought, just the dialogue on those.
Well, I'm
two
glad
were
you
good.
enjoyed it because we fucking hated it.
It was.
I didn't.
It was
mind
a
Pet
cool.
Sematary
It was
that
a
much.
cool idea to do
Yeah.
it, but it was hard.
Yeah.
It was probably after I spilled all that cherry Coke on myself that I started thinking, is this a good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, as a viewer, I liked that. I liked, and the dialogue in those 2 episodes was really good, like the banter and stuff.
So I got 2 more questions for you.
Oh, I'm ready.
The second last one. Why Midnight Meat Train?
Because I probably watched it about 10 years ago, and I just remember being like, nobody'll believe me that I watched this movie.
Yeah.
First off, because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper just puts it all on display.
Right? And like the first, what's it called? The name of it, Midnight Meat Train. People are gonna be like, "Oh, sure, you watched Midnight Meat Train," and also,
Yeah, what a horrible name for a movie.
to try to get people to believe that it's a horror. No, guys, it's a horror, I swear. And I worked at a UFC store, and I love Rampage Jackson, and he made a cameo in it, so that's the other reason I liked it. But it was, I don't know, I thought it would be funny. I thought you guys would get something out of it. It was kind of a bad movie, but there was a twist at the end.
Yeah, the ending was worth it for
It was
me.
still a good watch. Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it.
It was
I
definitely
didn't think you'd
interesting.
hate yourselves afterwards like the movie last week.
Yeah, no, I remember watching it thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
Speaking of bad movies, what was your least favorite?
Last
of
week's.
people.
I didn't like last week's because you guys literally sounded defeated after watching the movie.
I was exhausted.
I could tell, and
After
Kyle was
watching
sick.
it.
and
I
exhausted.
gotta say, like me being sick, I know didn't help my situation.
Well, I think the
But-
thing is you were both kind of like low energy, sick, not
I
even
was-
really
Yeah,
wanting to be there. To
I
be honest,
started really fucking tired, and the
Wow.
movie just sapped
Did you, like,
every last bit of energy. I had.
Literally, when I asked you if we actually had to finish the movie, I was being serious. Because, like, I was like, is there a point? Could we just go record it and just say we couldn't make it through? Like, I was just ready, but I was also dying a little bit. So.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I
So-
walked as soon as I walked in and saw him. I was like, "Oh Jesus!" Look at the state of it.
And that's probably why you got sick.
Yeah, man, I was not feeling fresh over the weekend.
yeah, and I was actually pretty sick before that too. Before you,
Yeah, I
were-
probably got it
There
from
was a
you.
lot of people just the past couple
Oh,
of weeks that have
Alannah,
been
you're
I
feeling
was
next.
gonna
worse.
say, is that part of this that I get sick afterwards? Is
Well,
that
only
a piece of it?
have you been protected against like hepatitis and stuff.
I mean, I'm breathing into Kyle's spit
Do you,
screen here,
do you,
so
do you have your electric shot?
I'll ask Victoria.
All right. Well, thank you for coming and watching the movie with us. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. Thanks, Kyle and Patrick, for making me revisit this. I do love you guys, and I appreciate that you do come every week, even though it sounds like I'm not very happy right now. I do appreciate it. If you guys are interested in following what other movies we're going to be watching, you can get in touch with us and follow us on social media.
You totally should. They're awesome.
Twitter at Life with Kenny, which I don't really do because everybody on Twitter is just like a fucking negative fucking asshole who just posts about how the waiter brought their salad late. Instagram at Life with Kenny Pod, and
They post about their salad being brought late on there.
yeah, and Facebook Life with Kenny Podcast. We post movie nights every Friday and Life Legends episodes every Tuesday, where we talk about I guess like conspiracies, stories. We lay it all out. This next episode, I'm trying to think of when this will come out. Friday. So Life Legends will be out on Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about, well,
He looks very confused now for anyone that can't see his face.
the reason I'm saying this now is because I want to give everybody a heads up. I'm going to be talking about a lot of the Nazi experiments that they did and theoretical weapons and
sketch.
stuff.
Interesting.
Because the following week, next movie night, next Friday, we will be watching Overlord.
Yeah, we will.
Right
Patrick,
on.
did you have a movie for after that picked out yet? Is it The Descent?
Yes, it is.
The Descent?
It is.
Okay, so you guys can watch those in
And then we're going to
preparation.
get back into some comedies or something like
Yeah.
the mood.
yeah,
yeah.
that's some heavy movies.
Well, we got to watch Dr. Giggles at some point too, but that one might have to wait a bit, so we'll see. But yeah, thanks for tuning in this week. And Alannah, you want to sign us out here?
I do. I would just like to say fuck Judge Reinhold.
It's a little
Right.
harsh.
Yeah, I had to stand up because my crotch is
You don't
well
even-
sweaty as well.
You
And
don't
thanks
even
for having me. This was fun.
And thanks for coming.
some harsh words. You don't even know Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, but he sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Fuck
He really does.
Get some
Piece
sleep,
of
Vince,
shit.
and get a life.
Yeah.
Get a life.
Yeah. Stop listening.